This was clearly September 2008, the Lehman weekend, followed by what I think of as Lehman week with AIG, Merrill Lynch being taken over, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley under pressure. And we had to go, I remember taking Secretary Paulson, we went to talk to Congress about AIG, and we explained to them what we were going to do. And we basically were told, well, Congress is not supporting this. This is your choice. This is your decision, your responsibility. And it was very, very tough.
And he held the bag for that. That was former Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke telling me about his toughest time as head of the central bank back in 2007. In his new book, Bernanke had some fighting words for AIG executives as well. Joining me right now in a Fox Business Network exclusive are former AIG Chairman and CEO Hank Greenberg and Boies, Schiller, and Flexner Chairman David Boies. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So Bernanke's there talking about what went on in 2008. From your standpoint, Hank, one of the biggest stories of the financial crisis is how the government acquired AIG and then charged the company 14% interest rates.
Yeah, it was outrageous.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was outrageous because I was out of the company then.
Right.
But it was outrageous to overreach the way they did. Not only did they charge 14.5% interest, but they ultimately acquired 79.9% of the equity, and that's what we challenged. Subsequently, because that was simply wrong. It was against all of the rules.
And you challenged it, David, and you won. Basically, the judge agreed with you that, yes, this was government overreach, even though you didn't get any damages for the tens of thousands of shareholders that Hank Greenberg was representing, really.
Right. And it clearly was government overreach. Congress passed this law that allows loans during the Great Depression in the 1930s. And it was designed to help companies and individuals who were in trouble because of financial crisis. And what Congress said is you can charge an interest rate that's set with a view towards accommodating commerce and business. But that's all. You can't confiscate a company's equity. And so when the government confiscated the company's equity, that went way beyond the power that was given to them in any kind of democratically enacted legislation.
Now, Ben Bernanke would push back, and you're appealing this decision, correct?
We're
you're appealing the other.
What we're appealing is the lack of damages. But we agree with the principle. I mean, the most important part of the case. Of course you agree with the principles because he agreed with you. Exactly.
But you're appealing the no damages.
Yes, exactly.
What are you looking to get?
Well, the government made $24 billion of profit, and we're seeking somewhere between $17 and $24 billion. We're not seeking back the interest. We're just seeking back the profit that they made when they sold the stock that they had illegally confiscated.
You know, Ben Bernanke would push back, I think, and he did in this studio a couple of weeks ago and say, look, we had no options. Okay, we were looking at, the lights going out for General Electric. The economy was collapsing. What were the options?
Well, remember, nobody said that they couldn't give the loan. This is not a question of did they have the option of giving the loan or not. Congress had given them the power, indeed the responsibility, to make loans in these circumstances. The question is not whether they should have acted to provide liquidity to AIG. The question is whether they had the right to confiscate the shareholders' equity as part of that. That's what this is about. See, people try to make this into a question about should they have acted? Are we limiting the power of the government to act in a crisis? That isn't at all the issue here. The issue here is the simple question of can they confiscate a company's equity without any congressional authorization?
And of course, we all believe no.
Exactly.
That is not according to our Constitution.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the first time in 75 years that the law was in effect that the government took equity in a company.
So, I mean, Hank, you've been fighting this fight for a long time at this point. Do you think that the public sentiment on this is with you? I mean, do you think that this idea of government overreach has gotten worse?
It's gotten worse, it's no question. I think at the beginning of the case, the public was not for us. They thought that the government helped bail out AIG, and here we are now suing the government. That changed during the trial when the facts came out as to what the government did and how they did overreach way beyond any power that they had.
And you had the principals basically saying it in trial. Bernanke, Geithner, Hank Paulson.
Exactly.
That's right.
Remember, one of the things they said was they intentionally made AIG a political scapegoat. That's not our words. That's Secretary Paulson's words. He and Bernanke and Geithner set out to make AIG a political scapegoat. And so they tried to blame everything on AIG. They tried to escape the blame that they had for creating the financial crisis.
Well, by the way, it works, okay? It
works.
Plays with the populace.
It does.
And that's what we're seeing play out right now in terms of the candidates, in terms of what Hillary Clinton is doing, as well as Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
So what do you want to see? I saw recently you decided to back Jeb Bush.
Yeah, well, I've known him a long time. I thought he did a great job as governor in Florida. I think he'd be a good president. He's got a lot of experience.